it reaches that time.
Okay.
Well, I need to go ahead and get this stream going.
Watch the live stream in 1 minute and 40 seconds. Oh, we started now. Okay.
Alright.
And music.
Okay, Dick. Man, it's freezing.
Thank you for interrupting the music, Dan.
Winter is coming.
Really? I like the cold.
Don't worry, it is physically impossible for us to finish the intro without someone interrupting it.
At this point, yes.
Well,
Nah, it worked fine
ice
last time.
contain it.
So, how's everyone been since last we streamed?
Cold.
Cold?
Hot.
Sick, ill, tired, and realizing he needs more fucking coffee.
Coffee? That
And
sounds good.
naturally, I caused my powers of persuasion for Mishka to sneeze.
I imported more
Too much
Vietnamese
credit.
coffee, so I have lots of it now.
Interesting, interesting.
So you're the one we almost hung.
So, besides Tempor being sick, Mishka, how you been?
Alright. Mostly.
Only
Nothing
mostly.
special. Mm-hmm.
Raindrops, how you been? Anything new?
Cold. I need Kiki to warm me up.
Oh, quit complaining. Enjoy it while you can.
No, I'm serious. It is freezing here, guys. I may end up
Yeah, it's
taking a
pretty
break
cold
to
here,
set
too.
up the space heater.
Ah.
You know, it gets
Q-Q?
real cold.
Yeah, other
Dan
than that,
starts
I've been
shivering. I
fine.
leave my window open with a fan sucking cold air in.
You're insane.
No, I just handle the cold better. And I sleep a lot better in the cold, too.
You have
So-
some more insulation than I do.
QQ, how you been?
I've been alive and kicking.
You been kicking rain around, is what you said?
Always.
Sounds like you're a very abusive relationship.
Well, only verbally.
Only verbally, huh?
Kiki tells him to shut the fuck up, and he shuts the fuck up.
Well, of course, I mean, like, he is a wolfie. Wolfies need to be told to shut the fuck up.
No,
Only
he's a good
sometimes.
dog.
So, Fuzzdale, how you been?
I've been doing pretty well. I've watched through the entire Harry Potter movie series with my girlfriend and had a great time with it. I also watched through the Force Awakens with her today. However, I've been working like extremely hard at art in this past few days, and my body is protesting right now. I am now nursing a cramped up pectoral muscle, and it is very uncomfortable right now.
That's what you
Oh,
get
hey,
for
I
streaming
leveled
all
up.
of the Harry
I can now
Potter
pick a
movies.
class. What class do you guys think I should pick?
The
The middle class.
elites.
Okay, there's Soldier, which is
Now, what
basically...
are
Soldiers are basically the tank class. Demolitionists are explosions and fire. Cultists are magic casters that summon eldritch abominations.
Ooh, go with that.
Nightblades are deadly assassins with magic. Arcanists are the very powerful spectral casters, and then shamans are melee casters with elemental magic imbued in their weapons.
All those choices are pretty good.
So, Occultist or Nightblade? My first character I made last night is a soldier. This one I made for the podcast. I didn't name it Kota Occult because I was first deciding a cultist, but I'll let you guys.
Like
pick.
in the
I would say go for Arcanist.
I am playing Grim Dawn, Mishka.
Oh, right.
Mishka, what do you think I should pick?
What are your options?
Tank, Pyromancer, Cult
Oh,
Summoner,
go Pyro, definitely.
Cult Summoner,
Assassin.
Magic Assassin, Heavy Duty Caster, and Melee Caster.
Pyro.
Templar? Oh, did he go AFK?
He actually went to get some coffee.
QQ, what do
You
you
guys
say?
were kept talking about coffee, and look what you did now. You made him go get coffee.
QQ, what do you say?
Not our fault.
Huh?
What do you say I should pick?
Play as the cultist.
Yeah, actually, the cultist does sound interesting.
Cultist it is then.
Caleb will hunt you down.
Let's hear my choices for level 1. I can summon Beholders, use a cruel word of power to rob enemies of their fortitude, or summon a mythical storm raven.
Beholders. Because cacodemons.
Beholder
The
it
other
is.
summon looks pretty nice.
Was the cacodemon taken from the Beholder? I thought it was something else.
No, Astral Dreadnought. But their function in the game is much more closer to a Beholder.
Ah.
And the mod I'm working on for my Doom modding project, I just call them meatballs.
So far, I have no idea exactly how to do the abilities.
Try right-clicking. Usually is the default.
Right click has nothing on it. Left click is ability. Up and swap, roof travel. Options. Skill ability is S, but that just brings up that.
Yes, of course. We're trying to help Kota get started with Grim Dawn.
Have you tried turning it on and off again?
I think we got it backwards.
I mean, we're talking more about the character creation and controls thing.
I'm more trying to figure out how to put my abilities on the bar.
Oh, this is cool.
Pretty interesting because you would expect this sort of thing to be completely mouse-driven, with keyboard shortcuts to make it quicker.
And
Try
I put the
pressing
points
C.
already in it, but I don't know how to bring it to the action bar.
Try pressing C.
C just brings up my inventory.
Maybe you could go to your tab and see if there's your abilities in a tab inventory. That's usually how it is. I don't know. It's probably the control scheme of this is probably a lot more different.
Probably. So, have we gone through how everyone's week's been?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you've asked Templar.
Well,
Yeah,
Hey-
Templar was off getting coffee, remember? 'Cause
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Templar's mic
coffee.
is inactive.
Yeah, I'm here and I'm drinking coffee. I'm waiting for the caffeine to drop, and then it's like the fireworks start, and I'll be in full bully mode.
no.
Should I just
so
get the
really
heater
quick.
set up now, or
What?
never mind? Just go.
Really quick,
Relax.
Templar. How's your day? How's your week been?
My date? Well, thanks for asking. None of your business. But
Okay,
nah, my
yeah.
week's been fine. Just more or less taking care of some IRL business, getting over a cold, and more or less moving around some furniture, and that's about it. Oh, and playing video games as always.
Right, speaking of which, what have y'all been playing this week?
RuneScape.
Starband.
I've just been playing a little bit of everything, but lately what's drawn my attention would have to be Mafia 3 and Europa Universalis 4.
How can you like Starbound? It's boring.
Not Starbound.
I'm talking to Mishka.
Great,
I don't know.
a lot of people
Uh.
like Starbound.
I don't know, how can
Yeah,
you
how
like
can-
bitching about every single game I play?
BNF is actually going to get a Starbound server someday.
And that completely boggles my mind. Why? It's one of the most boring games I've ever played.
Your
just
opinion,
don't-
not anybody
It
Well,
doesn't appeal to
Rain,
you. It's not your
just
type of game.
remember. Just remember,
No,
Rain. No,
it's
no, 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 no.
boring.
Just remember, Rain.
That's a
Just remember.
subjective judgment.
Just
No,
remember,
it-
Rain. No, no,
walking
no, no, no,
simu-
no, 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 Rain. Just remember. There
Oh,
are
we're the buddy
legitimate
bears
fans.
and don't always get along.
There are
and if you
legitimate
disagree
fans.
with and if you
Fleetcom.
disagree with us, please know that you are wrong.
No, but this isn't a buddy bear scenario. You're saying that the game
No,
is
I'm saying
objectively
this
bad, not
podcast
that you
is-
like it.
No, I'm saying this podcast is now a buddy bear.
I'm saying that
situation.
no,
Rain?
I'm saying, dude, did you not even listen to me?
I listen.
Yeah,
Rain?
I said
Rain?
there are fans of Fleetcom. Some people have permanent shit taste.
Well, no, I like to think that these 11, however many people there are that like Fleetcom, at least acknowledge that it's not very good. That they just like it because Roguestar made it or something. I don't know.
I
What's
don't
fun
know.
is that bacon is
The
one
only
of those.
the only reason I would even bother with Starbound, to be honest, is because of that race mod where you could play as an Aryan Ubermensch or some shit that Pole made, just for the hilarity of it. Because otherwise, it's like Starbound to me just feels like an unfinished version of Terraria set in space, and I'm just like, so what was the point?
Except it is finished now.
Not from what I saw of what they were promising in the past versus what was the release fucking version.
It's a walking simulator.
Well, in any case,
It's not
though,
even that, and my
I
God.
have a better theory as to why people like it. It's because of all the furry mods out there for Starbound.
Okay,
You can
well,
die
that
if
actually
you're
makes
forced to
sense.
go to walk.
No, what? No. Now I understand. Yeah, that actually makes perfect sense.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there aren't that many games we can play as a bird now, huh?
Well, in any case,
Banjo-Kazooie?
in any case, Templar, how exactly is Mafia 3? Is it any good?
I've only played a little bit of the intro, but since I can run around the shit out of people and steal their shit without any real consequence because I'm that good at sneaking, I can literally say I didn't do nothing and I was a good boy.
You've been a
All
good goyim,
joking
haven't you?
aside, I'd say it's alright. I mean, it runs a bit like ass compared to Mafia 2, but with modern games, I've just come to expect that most of them are not going to be optimized for PC release.
How does it compare to similar games like, say, Sleeping Dogs?
I don't know, to be honest, because I really don't get the big deal with Sleeping Dogs. I mean, the story's okay, but from a gameplay perspective, I just never saw the appeal of Sleeping Dogs, you know?
Well, for me, right, the big appeal is that it's set in my home city.
How accurate
Well,
is it?
there's that.
It's fairly accurate, but let's just say that a lot of the landmarks are dated.
You know what's bad is I played Sleeping Dogs, but I had trouble finding a single dog in the game.
Ah!
Not one.
Well, you can find chickens because there are cockfighting mini games in Sleeping Dog.
Yeah, but where are the dogs?
They're probably served in restaurants.
Oh! But yeah, like, the only thing that really bugged me about Mafia 3 was that whole racism disclaimer where it's like, these people are good. This game is set during the time of, like, when racism was still a thing, and so people are going to say nigger and shit. We find this abhorrent, but it needed to be done to tell the story. Blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, what the fuck is the point?
The point is to avoid getting lynched by angry fat feminists with something to bitch about.
Probably
I
that.
don't know. I think it's just the wording that bugged me the
Well,
most.
no, they do it
I mean,
so that Tumblr users can screen cap it and post it to their blogs, their Twitter feeds, and virtue signal about
Market
how
that
great it is. Yeah. Just like Warner Brothers
yeah,
did with the
I'm
Looney
fine
Tunes
with that,
ones.
but you know, when I look at that and then I remember the way that Warner Brothers handled like their censored 8 cartoons and the disclaimer they put before that, I'm like, the one in Mafia 3 just feels like it's pandering to a base, whereas the Warner Brothers one was actually someone giving an honest assessment of what they thought. You know?
I suppose. I don't know. I'm the kind of person who I don't really see those kind of stereotypes as inherently racist. You know, like the kind in
It's
those
not
kind of
even
cartoons.
that. I'm just looking at the thing, and all I can really say is, this is how people talked back then. This is how a lot of black communities still talk. So I don't see what the problem is. Like, would they rather we say, oh, they never used the word nigger to describe a black man back then? Like, good grief.
That would be factually inaccurate for the time frame.
Pretty much. But yeah, other than that, I can at least say that there's not a screeching activist going, how dare you say that, you evil, evil white man. The black dude's just like, not like I've been called that before plenty of times. So at least there's that. But yeah, other than that, I'd say the only real problem I have with the gameplay is that driving still sucks ass. But then again, Mafia's driving has always been kind of eh.
Has there ever been an open world sandbox action game with shooter elements that have good driving at all?
LA Noire.
But wait, LA Noire is a detective game, not a sandbox.
It's open world technically. Granted, there's not much to do in said open world, but the driving wasn't ass. And like, what was the other one I was going to go with? It's like, I want to say also that Saints Row 2, when you had the Gentleman of the Row mod installed, the driving was okay in that one as well. And there was like one other one, but I don't remember the name.
But the
But
thing
yeah,
is that for Saints Row 2, you would need a mod.
Yeah,
Fix
I'll
that shit.
grant you.
What about True Crime Streets of LA?
Don't think I played that.
The driving and Watch Dogs was shit.
Don't even get me started.
Actually, fuck it, why not? Do get started.
All I can really say is I think a movie best summarized my thoughts on the driving and Sleeping Dogs when it wasn't being ass. Why the fuck is everyone driving on the wrong side of the road? But yeah, it's like, all I remember is that mopeds can't steer for shit. Going above 40 miles an hour is basically asking to go flying off the off-ramp. And it's part of the reason why I really can't stand open world games that have terrible driving and insist on having all their objectives spread out as far across the city as possible, because then you have to drive. And it's like,
I
better
think
get used to
ultimately
running down every pedestrian in sight.
I think ultimately the underlying problem that's our design is that they're making the progression too linear. So you have to go from a specific point to another specific point in order to progress the story, instead of making a true open-ended sort of progression system.
I don't necessarily have a problem with getting from point A to point B so long as the journey isn't dull. That's part of the reason why I liked Just Cause 2, because it's like, okay, going from point A to point B, blow everything up between there and between here and there, you know?
By
And
the
then they
way,
had to ruin it with Just Cause 3. God
by the
fucking
way,
damn it.
do you know what I love about Postal's driving system?
What?
There is none.
You gotta walk
They-
everywhere.
Yeah, they lampshaded it by saying that vehicles are just walking explosive tracks anyway, so he's not gonna even bother using his car. Which is probably a wise idea, because cars in Postal 2 explode if you so much as look at it wrong.
So
In any
I'm
case,
using
yeah,
a.
open world games.
So I'm the
Right?
cultist. I have a raven with me, and I am using a flintlock rifle to attack with.
Groovy.
Mad old school.
More like hipster old school, but okay.
Speaking of which, I would love to, see something like Grim Dawn, but it's actually an Evil Dead game.
No, that'd be nice.
Yep.
That'll happen around the same time Gearbox stops being a bitch with Duke Nukem.
Never. Actually, it's a
Pretty much. Yeah.
scrap metal musket. My bad.
Okay.
That I'm using.
And speaking of which, so have you heard that the 20th, actually, totally not 20th anniversary edition of Duke Nukem 3D has been released on Steam?
Oh, really? Do tell.
Yeah.
What is this 20th anniversary?
And it's supposed to be a revamp of the engine that includes the Atomic Edition of the game, plus a new episode that has been created by people who are working at the original game, like Level Lord for the level design, Lee Jackson for the music, and John St. John for the new voices.
This sounds awesome. Please tell me how Gearbox screwed this up.
Alright, first off, the sound design. The sound design is fucking terrible. Like, you know what Gearbox did with the sounds?
Nope.
They
What they do?
upsampled it. They upsampled the sound files, and then they added an unnecessary high pass and low pass filter to the sound.
Oh my gosh,
So,
it's like it's over a
as a
telephone.
result, everything sounds like it's muffled underwater and it's being broadcast through a wet sock.
So they're trying
That is
to.
wet with semen.
They're trying to give you the old school, that fake old school feel.
Yes.
Well, you know what that means. You need to play it with
Yeah.
real Sound Blaster hardware. Or a Gravis Ultrasound.
And
Or
actually,
just
what's the
do what
bomb?
I did and use my GOG copy of Duke Nukem and throw it into eDuke 32 and then play it how it was meant to be fucking played.
Except,
Funny
But
story
please,
about that.
continue.
Funny story about that. The new release is not compatible with eDuke 32.
Of course not, because we are Gearbox, and we hate all of you. We wish you evil shitlords would go away.
Also, any version that is compatible with Duke 32 has been removed from the market in order to incentivize you to buy this new version.
Including the good version. You were talking about it. Which one? What was it called? The
Megaton Edition,
Thank
Uh-huh.
you, Megaton
which
Edition.
had 7 episodes in total, which includes the Atomic Edition of Duke Nukem, Nuclear Winter, Duke It Out in DC, and Caribbean Lives of Beach. Now, the most hilarious part is that I'm just saying that suddenly shields have been appearing on the forum. Shields who do not own the game, and they have been trying to white knight the release as hard as possible, attacking the pissed off customers who expected so much more but got so little for $20, and basically trying to defend every single criticism of this
Oh
release.
my. You just
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know what the
Yes.
artistic merit was of this game.
They're trying
And
to
I
say
find
that
it-
8 levels for $20 is a worthwhile investment. Let me tell you something. You don't get an investment
wait.
out of selling.
Only 8 levels?
Yes,
only 8 levels to this entire
that's
game?
the new. No, that's the new content.
Ah.
And the 5th episode has 8 levels created by an Lord. The problem though with those levels is that they are actually too easy. Like they try to introduce this new entity, which is supposed to be very threatening and very hard to hit because of their ability to shrink down to a tiny size and pester you with tongues of flame from the flamethrower. The problem though is that when they're shrunk, they die to one hit from explosive weapons.
Oh
So
my.
they become yet another trivial cannon fodder for Duke's weapons. And they don't add anything new to the story. To the gameplay, so to speak.
Yep.
And
And the
let's not go
shit.
into... Yep, and let's not go into how the boss of the new episode is basically just a lazy recolor of the Cycloid Emperor. I'm not
Yep.
joking. You could actually find footage of it.
Not to mention the fact that, from what I understand, he only wields a short-range flamethrower, so you can just literally stand out of his range and shoot him without any real difficulty.
Uh-huh.
And you want to know what the worst part is, from my perspective, about all this? Take a listen to some of the new lines John St. John recorded, and he just sounds absolutely fucking fed up.
He sounds
he's
indifferent.
this sounds like he just phoned it in because he knew quality of the project he was involved in with this.
No, he sounds like someone who just doesn't care about this project anymore, but needed the paycheck.
Yep, and that's a mark of complete difference compared to his performance in Duke Nukem Forever, which is one of the few reasons I'll still defend that fucking game.
Yep. As much as Gearbox tried to rape that release by cutting up the good parts and reselling it back to us as DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you know? The Spy Who Cloned Me was originally supposed to be a part of the original release of Duke Nukem Forever, but Gearbox, being the greedy pitchmen that they are, decided to cut that out of the game and sell it to us for another, I don't know, $10, $20?
I know, right? And my older brother bought the Balls of Steel edition of this shit.
You probably bought it for the Duke Nukem Steel figure.
He bought it for all the shit, and the fact of it's finally coming out. The thing that's been the joke for nearly 2 decades is finally happening.
Ah.
But yeah, sounds to me like Pitchford's problems aren't Gators, but his own development team being incompetent.
Or should I say dishonest and taking orders from him?
Mm-hmm.
Because, as we've noted, as we all discussed, Pitchford does not have a good attitude towards his consumers. In fact, he actively hates them.
This makes you wonder why
Yeah.
he's
There was
even
this
I'm pleased to
bothered.
see that the taint of possession has left you.
because it
Should
makes
you
him a lot of
require it,
money.
I offer spiritual guidance
All
to
I'm
survivors,
really gonna note
old
is that
memories,
it really
and
does
my knowledge of
show
spirits
that
has
one of
allowed
the
me to
major
cultivate that I am
universities in
not
my
alone.
state basically farms out the student talent to id Software and Gearbox mostly. Kind of does show exactly how much faith they have in the student body and the fact that Vox wants the cheapest labor force possible so they can shit this shit out quickly and be done with it.
Pretty much. But yeah, as I was saying, right, Randy Pitchford, actually, let's go back much further. Like, a while back, we all talked about, well, we all know about the news of aliens colonial marines sucking the big one, right?
Hmm.
Well, as it turns out, people have been getting together and trying to put together a class action lawsuit against Gearbox and Sega for the abomination that is aliens colonial marines. Here's the thing, though. Randy Pitchford took himself and his company out of it by trying to claim some technicalities that absolve him of responsibility for how shit this has become. And unfortunately, this has the unfortunate side effect of setting a legal precedent for pitchmen to get away with selling us bullshot.
The thing is that with that whole thing, I think that case is still pending, but Gearbox was dropped along with a whole bunch of other people, and there are only like 2 plaintiffs left. They're suing Sega directly for it, and I'm just like,
Like,
And
honestly,
now
how
I
much
see
of a
the
role
same thing
Sega-
happening with like No Man's Sky, where a whole bunch of the quote unquote legal talking heads in the games, media and elsewhere, the usual suspects on Reddit and whatnot, basically saying that it's a waste of time to go after Sean Murray because, what he said in those interviews to all those game mags is not legally actionable as false advertising because Sony is not responsible for that. And I'm like, fuck you.
Oh, and it gets better. Randy Pitchford had a similar response when asked about it, and he said that the lawsuit was a complete waste of time because the market was working intended. And by working intended, he was referring to the fact that Aliens Colonial Marines had a very, very high sales figure during launch. That was before people figured out that the game was terrible.
Pretty
And
much.
the Gearbox got all those sales purely on hype alone. Pitchford has the balls to say that to the customer and say, no, the market is working as intended. Like it is
I'm
it is
loving.
if
I'm
we
only
can get away
loving
with screwing
one.
you over, then we have done the right thing.
I'm loving only one real excuse on the No Man's Sky thing, and it was one lawyer who shall remain nameless because that little cunt deserves to basically no longer be allowed to practice law as far as I'm concerned. But he basically came up with this defense for No Man's Sky, basically arguing consumers should not buy games at launch or pre-order them because they should learn to wait. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, they should, but you know what, that doesn't excuse the developer screwing up in the first place, you dipshit.
Yeah, my response would be, yeah, you might be right, but you're still a cunt.
And that's the point. We are not talking about games that dared to reach for the stars and then just failed to hit the mark. We're talking about games where there was no effort put in whatsoever. And it's clear. It is clear no effort was put in whatever based on what they were promising and the final product we got.
Kind of reminds us of a lot of, middling to big, name publishers. Like, say, Tripwire. We're not going to get into that now since me and Tyler have talked our ears off about this. But yeah, you get the idea. Companies are getting away with more and more frivolous stuff, and the consumers need to stop this from happening. Like, this needs to stop very, very soon. It's time to stop this.
I'm gonna call Child
It's time
Protective
to stop.
Services.
It's time to
Uh-huh.
stop, okay?
Pretty much. Seriously, like, I don't know what is it about gamers that they get so easily hyped into buying, spending extraordinary
High
amounts
times, preferences.
of money and time in games that they probably wouldn't enjoy as much as if they had, spent their time picking their games wisely and, buying them after launch during a sale.
Kind of reminds me of all those people who were complaining a lot about the Paradox games but still buy them. I'm like, you got two choices. You can either stop buying them and play something else, or you can try finding new games in the same genre that they're making and that are actually good. Like with Paradox, they keep screwing up a lot of their fucking grand strategy games. I went out and found a publisher by the name of Slytherin who happened to be making games in that same genre that had a lot more care and attention put into them than Paradox seems to want to these days. As a result, I found a whole lot of great games like Commander the Great War that I might not have otherwise heard of without it. And that's kind of the
Yep.
thing. I think a lot of gamers have real short memories because, like, when you look at the entire body of video games, especially the ones coming out today, they're just dilutions of much better games that came out decades ago, which is why I keep advocating that people need to have a large backlog of games so that when this shit inevitably happens, they can just dive into the bunker and enjoy the backlog. Until the
Like
industry
Blood, for
decides to
example.
stop being a collection of dildos.
Like, for example, the Blood collection. Like, the first Blood game is pretty phenomenal because it is extremely hard and doesn't fuck around. You don't get games like that anymore. Like, most games won't dare kill the player in the first level. Blood, though, it'll kick your ass and make you its bitch, and it will teach you how to not play like a complete moron in the first level. If you can't get past the first level, you're not doing it right. And you need to good.
Yup.
So far, that's me
And
at
that's
the
kind
moment.
of the
But
thing
I
at the
think
end of
it
the
is
day.
because I'm not used to the type of control it has. It feels a little bit more clunky to me. I'm not
Yeah,
used to the really old style
unfortunately-
first persons.
Yeah, unfortunately, Blood uses the DOS mouse driver, which is pretty fucking horrible from what I've heard. Never had that much of an issue myself, but it can be a problem with people who are very much used to fine mouse control. Which is why the game comes stocked with a little bit of a slight aiming assist to make up for it. But yeah, there's like lots of old games that are just, so good, but so overlooked. And I think they do deserve a second chance instead of the modern slop you see nowadays.
Indeed.
No one deserves the modern slop that we have.
No.
I mean-
There are people who deserve the modern slop we have. We call those people Anthony Birch.
Nah.
But yeah, like, me personally, I was extremely excited for Shadow Warrior 2, but I have stopped myself from picking it up on pre-order. And I think that people over time can learn with enough practice to have the will to resist the urge to pre-order stuff that they get hyped about.
So far, it
I mean,
seems Shadow
hell.
Warrior 2 actually delivers well, from what I've been seeing.
Yeah, and here's the thing though, like, it's only valid if you know that the game is good, if you know what you're getting is good. That is why it's so important that even if the game is very, very likely to end up very good, to never pre-order games, because like knowing that a game is good for sure before buying it It's very important as a consumer.
I mean, me personally, when I knew Battlefield 1 was going to be terrible, I just took all the memes V made showing how much of a fucking mess the beta was and just showed my friends. And I'm like, you really want to drop $60 on something like this? They're like, nah. Even though it looks cool, not going to happen. And I didn't just leave it there. I'm like, there is, however, an alternative. And then I just pointed them over to Verdun. Sure enough, many people have now forgotten about Battlefield 1 in my circles and are playing Verdun now.
You have done a great service for all.
Indeed.
So yeah, new school games are pretty terrible for the most part. Old
Okay,
school
Templar,
games
how
were
about this? Give me an alternative to, crap, what's it? Firefall? No, that one went to crap. 'Cause
Firefall has
I
always
love the
been
beta
crap.
And
back.
Firefall.
Nah, I love the beta
Give
back
me a
in the
description
day.
because I really don't remember that one.
That's an MMOFPS.
MMO sci-fi
MMO
FPS.
FPS.
MMO sci-fi FPS.
Warframe.
I'll keep looking.
To be honest, I can't really speak on that because I'm not that big on
I gotcha.
MMOs, but you get my point. It's like stick to. It's
Okay,
like
well,
a
how about
case
this? A
of if
game
you're
that's
knowledgeable.
written with story that's written like the kind that Orson Scott Card writes, because that one he did a lot of the story for that, and it shows.
No, I don't know, to be honest. Like, if you want a sci-fi RPG that's a bit different than the usual fare, I would say Salvation Prophecy might be up your alley if you
Okay.
enjoyed games like Mountain Blade. I mean, it's a
Ooh.
bit on the smaller side compared to Mountain Blade, but I still find it a bit interesting to play. But yeah, that
There's
seems to
another
be the
recommendation.
operative thing here usually with a lot of these games, because most of these devs that make these kinds of games come out of the former East Bloc usually. And I think there's something to do with that.
You mean games like Gorky 17 and similar stuff?
Or Consortium, or Space
what was the
Ranger.
name of it again? Could you type in the chat?
Salvation Prophecy.
Thank you.
It was like $2 on Steam a while ago. I would recommend waiting for like the Christmas sale to see if it goes on sale again.
Okay.
Because
Or
like,
you could go to isthereanydeal.com and search the game's name and see if there's any store outlet that has it on sale.
Yep.
but
It
yeah,
won't search sites like G2A for it, though. Just letting you know.
that's
I don't
cancer.
recommend G2A anymore because the G2A protection fee has been raised to $3, which is, quite a bit more expensive than what it's worth.
Yep. I kind of stopped now as well after yesterday.
I mean, I like what you're doing. You're trying to provide a key service, a service to trade keys, but yeah, $3 just for, some sort of, consumer protection is a bit steep.
I'll be honest. I'd rather just buy the game at full price and actually give the developers my money. Because if it's a dev that I really don't like, then I don't really want to be playing their games in the first place. So.
There are some
guess in a
games
way
that I
you'd
don't
like-
really like the devs, but I'm willing to try out the game. And I like to still own it. Which is why I go to G2A.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, Grim Fandango. I wanted to try it, and I got the game for $1. Seriously, $1.
Oh, cool.
I guess
GOG.
the operative moral of this story is there's plenty of good games out there. You just gotta be willing to dig through the slop to find them.
Man, trying to find scrap metal is hard in this game.
I can tell you a game I'm looking forward to, but I
What?
haven't got it yet, even though it just came out. Shadow Warrior 2.
Oh yeah, that game.
I thought you
Doesn't that
pre-ordered
game
that
have
one.
like action RPG elements?
Yeah, apparently, I've just from what I've read and watched on it, they added some ARPG elements and some procedural generation to it.
I thought that was in the first one though.
No. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, honestly, I think the procedural generation thing is a little more elaborate than the AI director that you see in Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Is that it doesn't drastically alter the layout. It's just some corners may not be the same, some corners may be longer. Things. It's not like a roguelike.
Yeah, and as for the guns, yeah, it doesn't seem like, there is gonna be a situation where you have like a million useless gun and one gun that may be useful but it's not gonna last for long because after 2 levels you need to find another good gun.
I don't know much about the weapon system.
From what I've heard, right, is that there's gonna be around 70 weapons to pick up this time around. So I'm guessing that there's gonna be like some pretty well thought out weapons with slight variations, and you can pick out, certain weapons from that tier.
That's actually a good way to do it for this type of game.
And I mean, right, it seems like it's like the exact same way as Project Brutality handles, weapons and weapon slots. And, Project Brutality is a mod for Brutal Doom that greatly expands the amount of weapons that you can pick up. Like, every weapon has, like, different tiered versions of it. So you can have, like, the chain gun, the autocannon, and then you can get the big-ass fucking, lead cannon. And some of those tiered weapons also have upgrades to it. Like, for example, the minigun getting 3 different barrel arrangements instead of 1. But yeah, I'm kind of hoping that Shadow Warrior 2 has a weapon system like that because that would be fucking awesome. In any case, though, I think the most important part of a game like Shadow Warrior 2 would be the level design. So I'm kind of looking forward to see how well it actually plays out. So how do you feel, QQ, about this?
I'm gonna let you try it first, and then tell me if it's working or not. I'm gonna let you be not scapegoat, the guinea pig. Yeah, that's it.
Are you sure that's wise? Because I already have so many games in my backlog that I want to play through.
Yeah, but I'm a generation or 2 behind. I'm playing my N64, by the way. So, I think by the time that I catch up to this decade, you'll have played it.
Probably not.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, though, myself, because I've been playing a lot of Blood as of late.
That's true.
And I'm having a good time with it. Like last week, I've kind of talked about some of the Doom mod recommendations in the stream, right? And one of the mod I forgot to mention is a mod for Blood called Death Wish. It is a 30-level total conversion for Blood that features like very, very, very horror theme, very, very dark horror themed levels, and very Lovecraftian themes in them. Like there are many points where you just suddenly get teleported into hell worlds, and you can just casually walk between the hell world and the real world. And each time you get transported, some shit gets changed. Like your house suddenly swimming in a pool of lava, that sort of stuff. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, in any case though, those levels are extremely huge. Like, at the very least, they would take you 30 minutes to go through if you know what you're doing, and at least 1 hour each for each level to go through if you don't. So this is going to be a pretty big package for you to chew through, if you're looking for a mod to play through in this Halloween season. I highly recommend it because, well, Blood is a great game that is completely unforgiving and punishing for careless players, and which fits the horror theme pretty well as it encodes that in the mechanics instead of, the theme, and giving the players abilities.
And we know how much some of us enjoy munching on a giant package.
But yeah, this week's recommendation will be Blood Death Wish. I recommend that you pick it up like as soon as possible because it is a great mod so far and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Just remember to save and load often because let's just say that you're gonna be getting dick moved a lot if you don't know what you're doing. Like most of the time it could be avoided by just throwing dynamite across the room. But not many of us are used to the idea of dynamite being a bread and butter weapon.
What? Dynamite's a bread and butter weapon?
Yes, in Blood, right, your bread and butter weapon is the dynamite. It's how you get through a lot of stuff in the game. Like, you use dynamite to take out a bunch of zombies, you use dynamite around the corners to take out cultists before they can see you. Like in reality, the shotgun and the Tommy gun, as powerful as they seem, as straightforward as they seem to use, is normally used as a last resort. Because there are plenty of other weapons that do other stuff that is much more specific to certain enemy types that do the job better. Like for example, you can have the voodoo doll, that is a spiritual attack weapon that functions a lot like a sniper in deathmatch. That is especially effective against the undead. And the voodoo doll is actually one of the more interesting weapons in the game because the voodoo doll is a weapon that requires you to have a line of sight between yourself and the enemy. Otherwise, the weapon will play an animation where you stab yourself in the finger and you hurt yourself instead. And another feature of the voodoo doll weapon is that it turns undead enemies to dust whenever you use it on them. But yeah, that's pretty much Blood for me. It's a pretty great game.
So that is our spooky game of the week.
Yes.
Spooky, spooky.
Blood Death Wish. The original game is great.
No, it's not
Total
spooky,
conversion
spooky.
is great.
It's spoopy spoopy. Spoopy game of the week. Eh.
Not funny.
So, let's see.
Well, you know what? Fuck you.
Fuck all y'all.
Stop trying to copy Thydra.
So... Wait, didn't we have one more topic to talk about this
Fuck
week?
the police.
Yes, we have the Nintendo NX and the rumors circling around it now.
They're still making that thing?
Yes. It exists, it's just no one knows what the hell it is. There's nothing official about it.
Including Nintendo, I take it.
The only thing they said is we're making a system. It's going to be out by Christmas.
Yeah, there's going to be a new Zelda on it. You sure they didn't mean Christmas of 2016?
This is 2016.
I mean 17.
Nope, this Christmas.
So which one of you has an uncle that works at Nintendo?
Isn't that you, QQ?
Yeah, he told me it's gonna play Xbox and PlayStation games too. Xbox One and PlayStation 4 games.
That sounds like a very spurious claim.
That's all that your uncle from Nintendo ever makes is spurious claims.
I guess so.
That's interesting.
Let me guess. One of the titles is gonna be on Legend of Zelda: Call of the Wild. Am I correct?
Yep. Actually, I
I bought
think.
consoles for.
Wait, isn't that for the Wii U?
I'm
I
not
could be wrong.
sure.
I have purchased consoles solely for a Zelda game before, so
Yeah, and one other thing that I noticed about Call of the Wild is that it is so radically different to the other Zelda games that have come before it. It doesn't really play at all like a typical Zelda game. Like, you can get weapons and items randomly as drops from monsters, and they break. Not only that, but there is also a sort of like a crafting system that you can take advantage of to make better potions and stuff that you can use mid-combat to give you an edge in battle. And the final change is that Link is especially effeminate, which sparked a lot of,
nice.
controversy from the Tumblrites, who are disappointed that Link isn't a female this time. But the thing is, though, in this release, they didn't exactly mention Link's gender. So, for all we know,
Actually,
the
they
gender
did.
could be ambiguous.
They did.
They did?
They actually have a NPC that talks to Link, talking about how he knew Link's parents and all that, specifically his mother.
Oh.
How his mother was actually disappointed that she had a son.
Oh. Oh, so they poked fun at the Tumblrs. This will be interesting. Yeah, all the same though, I'm kind of disappointed that it's not doesn't play like a Zelda game. It plays more like its own thing, but with the Legend of Zelda sort of sticker slapped on top of it. But I'm going to give it a chance and, see how it goes. I'm pretty sure QQ would. After all, people said the same thing about Super Mario Galaxy, and look how well that game turned out to be.
Super Mario Galaxy 1 was
There
good.
are some stars in that game that I really, really enjoyed, but some got stars in that game that I really didn't.
I barely remember that game, to be honest. A few levels, sure, but not. Yeah. I don't
One
know.
more scrap metal, and I'll be done with the quest.
I just don't want
Okay.
to buy another console, to be honest.
Yeah, same here. Whenever I got into PC gaming in a big way, I've kind of stopped bothering with consoles altogether because it's not a worthwhile proposition for me as someone who plays PC games a lot.
Kind of the same. I mean, like, my last new console games I bought was The Witcher 100 Night and Disgaea D2.
And here's the thing that gets me about all these
And I still haven't
idiot
finished those.
Tumblrites. There's a game called It'll Do that's very, very inspired by The Legend of Zelda, except it does the puzzle. It's more focused on puzzles and for the better. The puzzles are great in that game. And the main character of the game is basically Link as a girl. And it's a fun game. It's funny, it's great. The main character is actually pretty interesting. Like, it's something that I'm sure a lot of these people would like, but they just ignore it. Like, even...
Well, it's something they would like if they actually play video games.
Yeah.
That's the thing you have to understand about those outrage specialists that focus on representation. They don't play video games. They
Well-
go into the space, they invade our space because they want to control the climate of it. To make it friendly to feminists, to make it friendly to SJWs, and only then can they step into the waters of gaming.
Now, to be fair, some of them do play games, but they enjoy complaining about games more than they enjoy playing them.
Oh yes, that
Nah,
reminds
Keo, I
me of this
disagree.
one.
Posting
Basically,
to-
so
hold on, post-
whoa. You're telling me that Tumblrettes are basically V?
Oh
much.
my gosh!
But yeah,
No,
the
but
whole
V doesn't play
complaining
video
about-
games.
Oh, yeah, the whole complaining endlessly about video game parts It kind of reminds me of this one something awful Let's Player that I used to follow, but they blocked me after they got really salty about sort of stuff I've said about them in a screenshot. Because, well, they are constantly complaining about stuff that's going on in the game industry, like the Video Game Awards, which everyone knows is terrible, so we don't take it seriously anyways. About, certain games not meeting their requirements for representation or social justice awareness, stuff like that. So I take screenshots of their tweets and kind of mock them, and they ended up blocking me. But I learned later that turns out they're trans. And honestly though, like between you and me, I don't think they really are.
But Val,
Oh no,
I
Val,
thought
how can
you're
you
not
say
supposed.
that?
I thought you're all supposed to agree together, like a hive mind. Isn't that how trans people work?
Very
Like,
the in mind.
like they don't make any they don't really make that much effort into trying to pass aside from wearing a dress. Like they don't make any effort into trying to, train their voice. They don't make any effort into trying to present themselves in terms of behavior as female. They're basically a dude in a dress, role playing as women, playing video games to try to seem important.
So
Like
you mean
seriously.
they're a fake person?
Yeah,
Fake
and you know
trans.
what? I've grown to expect that from, goons in something awful.
I
Like
think they're
every time, it's like every month, every week, I hear about a something awful goon who I used to like, I used to follow, turning out to be absolute garbage individuals. Slow Beef had become a complete shithead over the years, and so did a lot of, Let's Players who I used to follow.
Ooh, this is cool. Now I have a hellhound.
but to get a bit back on topic or whatever the topic was. Well, anyway, I think the real
DNS.
issue though is that a lot of the people who follow these ESJWs, well, they're not SJWs themselves. They still let them influence the purchasing decisions, and so yeah.
Which is a problem because they're basically acting as conduits for, poison being injected into the industry. Like, they may not be the Dark Lord, but they're definitely the Deadites.
Yep.
And that's something that most people don't seem to understand because when we try to criticize the other people's purchasing decisions, like, buying the 20th anniversary edition of Duke Nukem 3D for $20, we're not attacking their person. We're trying to make them aware that purchasing decisions like this is what caused them to make, like, what caused this sort of, landscape in the first place. That basically forces them to make such terrible purchasing decisions, such as, buying such a terrible port for $20 when a port that has previously been available is superior and available for $10.
But Val, don't you remember? You're just a poor person that couldn't afford a game that's $20.
Well, if they say that, well, they're classist. And they're self-hating too, because, well, who are the people who's buying games for a hobby? Working class people. Whether or not you're able to afford $20 for a game or $60 in a game, you're still purchasing a luxury item. And as working class people, that doesn't come around often. So yeah, don't beat
You know
down the
why I brought that
people
up, right?
who are not able to afford games. Yes, I know exactly why. Because that was the argument that one clown shill brought up in the Steam forums.
Yep.
And
The
it's
one
kind of
guy
puzzling.
with maybe about 100 games on his Steam and is complaining, saying that you can't afford games when you have like 400 or so.
Oh, and by the way, that shill who I argued with for days on end, He admitted to pirating the 20th anniversary edition anyway because he couldn't afford it.
Did he get banned from the forums then?
No, probably because Randy Pitchford paid him off the shield for the product. Because like
If
he
he
did
paid
not
him
just
off, why didn't he
defend
give him a copy of the game as well?
because Randy Pitchford is a cheapskate.
Yeah.
But yeah,
More than
it's
likely.
kind of weird because he's not trying to defend a game release or criticism. He is actually attacking critics of the release by calling them idiots.
Only idiots complain about video games.
Did you get the scrap?
Mhm.
Perfect. I'll get the win. Well, good news is I got the win.
Sure, but when I do it, I'm Phil Fish.
Problem is, it smells like a sewer.
Wait,
Another
did you say you're Phil
suspicious thing.
Fish?
Yes, well, see, Rain, the difference is you wish video games were a building so you could set it on fire with all of us in it.
Nah, just
What?
V.
Kick.
Another thing that I find very, very suspicious about the 20th anniversary release of Duke Nukem 3D is that, like, the day after the game got released, like, just as the game got released, the game got really negative reviews. The day after, the reviews magically became positive, and a big chunk of those positive reviews, you know what? They have
Disappeared?
less than 1 hour played on the record.
Who they made with
Plus-
key purchases.
Plus, those reviews are no bigger than a few sentences. Some of them, actually strangely enough, took the time to criticize the release for some of the valid complaints that people have, and yet they decided to recommend it anyways. This is very telling. Andy Pitchford is spending money, and he's spending money in all the wrong places.
What a waste too, and it's like it's a remake of, or not a remake. It's a re-release of Duke Nukem. It's not like the new Borderlands or something.
I wouldn't pay more than $20 for a new Borderlands, though. Anyways,
I wouldn't pay more than $5.
I wouldn't. You couldn't pay me to play it.
yeah, it's just a terrible game all around, and I can't believe I spent so much time and money on that.
I only did because of friends. Because like, hey, we should all play together.
I should hope that they're no longer your friends.
No, they still are. I made sure I had a little bit more fun with the game because
Divorce
of
them.
them. I had a little bit more fun with the game because of them. Only because we all talked about the stupid things we was ended up having to deal with and making fun of it.
Yep. Like insta-kill enemies all over the place because they are forcing you to use the fight for your life mechanic.
The D&D one is god awful. The D&D DLC one.
Mm.
It was horrid.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
So, shall we get back to the topic of the NETs, or is this done?
I think we're done
cares?
here.
It's all too speculative right now. There's not much to talk about.
I'm just like, until Nintendo gives some actual details of what the NX is, I don't give a fuck. Also, I want to see the launch library. Otherwise, I still don't give a fuck.
It's gonna have the Wii version of No Man's Sky.
Round.
Or sorry, the NX version.
Alright, and apparently I've been told that there's one more topic that we can discuss here. It slipped my
What's that?
mind because I'm not in the best of mental state right now to remember this stuff.
What is this one last topic?
Mishka? You were the one who brought that up.
What? What did I bring up?
Now we have 2 more topics
No,
to
I
talk
lost
about.
count.
Oh. Well, I guess that's it for today.
Yep.
Yeah, this week didn't really had that much going on. Aside from stupid shit with Gearbots, and well, that's every other day.
I'm pretty
I could have
sure
sworn
we
I
can-
had. I could have sworn I had more that I remember reading about, but I can't remember what it is now. If I come across anything this next week, I'll send it to you though.
Mm-hmm.
Sure thing.
Okay. Well, I guess that is it then. Hope everyone enjoyed. And I hope everyone enjoyed watching me play Grim Dawn in a probably horrible manner of me being a gun-toting cultist with a hellhound and a mystic bird.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Standard Steampunk Hipster Fantasy Faggot.
Bite my shiny furred ass.
Not happening. Hey, Rain, I heard you like the furry ass, so why don't you take this?
I'm not cheating on QQ.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed.
Oh,
See you all next week.